husband David, for those of you that don't know, please give him a big round of applause. So I looked at a couple, and there were a couple of things. One thing that I remember, I believe it was it last year, was Rory on last year, or was that Deb?
It was a couple of years
ago.
Deb was here last year.
Okay.
Roy was a couple of years ago.
Well, the one from a couple of years ago was pretty cool because it was, seriously? I was just going to tell you guys to shut your phones off. Thank you for reminding me, phone. Yeah, just silence your beepers. But yeah, a couple of years ago, we had the super interesting thing happened. Roy and Kiki both predicted something to do with the alien information coming out and all of that, and it was like within a couple of days they made a big announcement how they had released all these documents. I was like, dang. So you never know. We're all going to talk. You know, what's really fun about this is we may all say the same thing, and we may all say like completely and totally different things. So we really don't know. But the idea is to give you guys insight and information into the energies that are coming up this year. And we have different people in the panels. We use different modalities to do our healing work, to do our work. And so we channel information differently. And so as I read the bios, that will tell you. So I'm going to go through, and I think what I want to do is just read everybody's bios first, and get you introduced to everybody. And our names are all on the front here in case you forget. So we'll start over here with Ajani. He's the newbie today. We seem to always have like one or two rotating spots. We kind of have the same people most years. So Ajani he's an intuitive consultant and magic practitioner. He lives in Southern Kentucky, and so thank you for being here tonight, by the way. He teaches white light yoga. It's a combination of hatha asana with varied energy work techniques woven together, and metaphysical workshops such as the uncrossing jar or crystal conjuration, and the OBE of self-scan at the Tennessee Folk Magic Festival. Ajani is trained in Reiki, pranic healing, hoodoo and conjure, witchcraft, Indian shamanism, and crystal healing. And he looks forward to exploring the energies of 2020 and creating a beautiful year alongside all of you. So please give him a big hand.
Thank you.
And my buddy here, Kiki. I know. No, you know what? I'm going to read it all. We have time. You deserve it. Kiki has a lot to be proud of. Kiki lives in Nashville, where she's a tarot card reader, a certified life coach, and a workshop teacher. She reads tarot and teaches workshops out of Roman Gregory and Mystical Heart Spiritual Center. She is a regular at the local Pagan Pride Day and Pagan Unity Festival as well, also known as PUFF. Tish runs that. Her research specialties include tarot, divination, pagan holiday traditions, forest magic, kitchen witchcraft, Celtic and Norse mythology, and her first book, 8 Extraordinary Days, is a thorough investigation into the traditions, mythology, and magic of the pagan wheel of the year. Kiki's also a contributing writer for Which Way magazine, and prior to her time in Connecticut, this is so cool, prior to her time in Tennessee, she lived in Connecticut, not so cool, but she lived in Paris. We'll forgive her for that one. I don't like Connecticut. I'm from Boston, so we don't like anybody. Least of all our neighbors. Connecticut, all right, so she lived in Connecticut, but she also lived in Paris and Nottingham, England. And she was an English and creative writing student there. She also received a bachelor's degree from Southern Connecticut University and her master's degree from Nottingham University. Please give Kiki a big round of applause. And I'm really sorry for like this. I was trying to get rid of it before this, so I do sound a little froggy, but hopefully it's not annoying. Tish, there she is with her what do you call it, familiar.
My name is Gladys. She wanted to come up here, I couldn't say no.
Tish owned the Goddess of the Moon metaphysical shop for over 25 years here in Nashville. And now she has an office where she offers tarot card readings, past life regressions, Reiki, chakra balancing, and hypnosis. She's good at hypnosis, guys. You need to go and see it. I could make jokes, but I won't. Okay. Tish is the author of I know, especially she's holding the witch over there. Tish is the author of 4 books and the editor of Goddess and the Moon Metaphysical Journal, an online subscription magazine for those interested in pursuing the intuitive path. She's been seen in the Bell Witch special. I don't know if you saw that on TV, where they had one of the descendants of the Bell Witch, of the family that was cursed by them. And she's also been on the Kelly Pickler show. She gets around, like Tish Buddy. And she's also been a guest on Coast to Coast with Art Bell, when Art Bell was actually on the show.
Yeah.
And I will be forever in her debt, because she got him, it was on my birthday, and she actually got Art Bell to sing me happy birthday. And now he is gone, and that is one of the greatest moments of my life. So thank you, Tish. And give Tish a big round of applause. On the other side down there is my buddy Tony Bernard, and he's an astrologer, a tarot reader, a channeler with many years experience. He's read for people all over the country and is currently tutoring students in astrology and tarot. And he enjoys helping people achieve their full potential and loves to see people making progress in their lives. He's a great reader, guys. Give Tony a big round of applause. And last but certainly not least, my friend down there, Judy Bernard. We put the energy workers on either end here. Judy Bernard, she was born with a sense of knowing that when we connect to our hearts, we can access our purpose. As a sound healer, Judy uses vibration to help us connect to our hearts. Judy holds a master's degree in acupuncture and oriental medicine, allowing her to see the body as a sacred, energetic vessel. She combines these gifts and many other tools and creates custom one-on-one sessions. If you have not been gonged by Judy, you need to get gonged. It's really, really awesome. And she does gong events and vibrational coaching online and in person, and she works a lot around town in the salt caves doing the gong meditations. Since 2001, Judy's been a senior faculty at the Acutonics Institute of Integrative Medicine, educating sound healers, and is now bringing this program to Nashville. She has produced 2 relaxation CDs, Planet Lullaby and Neptune's Lullaby, and Judy is excited to be co-founder of the Shine Experience, which is dedicated to sharing the tools that will help us shift from absorbing others' energy to emitting our own light into the world. And that's going to be launching as soon as, is it? Did it? It's launched already. Yeah. So please give Judy a big round of applause. And for those of you who don't know me, I'll read mine, because otherwise I will get all off track here. Because I know my life, so. We'll go down the long and winding road. So I'm an astrologer, I'm a psychic medium, I'm a tarot reader, life coach, and Reiki Master, and I've been offering readings to clients worldwide for over 3 decades, seriously. I infuse a broad spectrum of spiritual guidance and personal experience to provide people with the tools they need to take charge of their life and prosper. I write astrology columns, video blogs for various publications, including Cosmo, Bustle, Brides, and Elle. And I'm going to brag for a second. I am also now going to be the Chewy.com official astrologer. I'm writing pet-centric. So my first one comes out in January. It'll be a monthly column. And I've also been on the air for years as the Cosmic Cupcake and doing weekly astrology reports. I'm a frequent guest on the Today in Nashville show, and the next time I'll be on is January 6th, by the way. And I've studied mediumship in this country and in England at the Arthur Findlay College. And I also teach mediumship, tarot, psychic development, and astrology. So, and that's what I do. So. And before we leave, I want you guys to all make sure that somebody reminds me to let you guys tell what you have coming up, so people can stay on top of that. So, all right. So, no particular order we're doing this in tonight. This is going to be the timer here. So I'm going to get this set. Hold we're each gonna have 10 minutes to go through, and that's gonna be a long time. In the past, I think we've had 7 up here, so it's been a little bit shorter, and we had to kind of rush through, so you can take your time today. And I'm actually thinking that we should just go down. Tony's dying to go. I'm thinking it might be nice to start out with Judy on that, and then just kind of go this way this time. So, are you ready? Ready, steady, Eddie?
I am ready.
All right. So,
Right.
we'll get this rolling and give us what you got, Mama.
Okay. Well, thank you all for coming, and it's a pleasure to meet all of you amazing people. Kind of how I work is I look at things from a planetary perspective because I work with the planetary frequencies as well as from a Chinese medicine perspective, and then also my own intuition. So when I was meditating on this and trying to see, okay, show me what 2020 is going to be, the first feeling I got was it's going to be much lighter and much better. But the vision I got, the picture, was someone who had like a hoodie on, with a coat on, with another coat on, with a cape on, carrying all these suitcases, but walking into the sun. So very heavy, burdened down. And so when I started thinking, okay, what does that mean? Show me more, explore this more. And what it is 2020 has amazing possibilities, but it's all about how good we get at letting go and moving forward. And so as we move forward into 2020, we're going to have a lot of choices, and things aren't going to be working well for us. And it's about us taking a moment and seeing exactly what that is. What's not serving me now? What's not making me happy? What do I dread doing? And then letting that go, or taking a different perspective on it, and then changing and moving it on. And so that's how we lighten our load. Many of us has already started that. So that won't be anything new. And the year of the pig, which is what we're moving out of, the earth pig, was all about self-care. And so as we've learned to take care of ourselves through this year, 2019, we now have the energy to start to let go of things. So one of the things that's going to become more and more into our awareness is vibrational medicine, or energy healing. And you start to see that everywhere. Crystals, everywhere crystals are showing up. I'm at the airport. I can buy crystals at the airport now. That's handy, in case I forget my entourage of crystals that want to travel with me. But how often, I mean, that's a new thing. You didn't see crystals at the airport at the beginning of last year or the year before. And so people are really starting to be drawn to and attracted to energy medicine. And that's only going to start exploding because science is now proving that we are vibration. So we are vibrating basically like a vibrating tuning fork. And we receive information through vibration, or we emit vibration. And that's when the vibration, what we think about is what we're attracting. And that's a vibration. And so it's time for us to stop stinking thinking. It doesn't help us in any way, shape, or form. Sometimes it'll help us, like, when the little oil light comes on in your car, or that engine light that means what? It's kind of like when we have that stinking thinking, it's the engine light coming on, and it's telling us something deeper is up. So it gives us an idea of where to go and get some healing done. Do we need to dig deeper and pull it out by its root? A lot of times we have voices in our head that were our parents or our grandparents or those that have raised us. I see some people nodding their head. And they were being human. You know, there's things my mother said to me and she's like, I can't believe you remember that. And it's like, she was just trying to get out the door to go to work and get me in the car. And of course, I don't know where my shoes are. And so she said some things, and then that's played in my head all these years. It's stinking thinking. She didn't mean it. I know she didn't mean it, but I have to unplug it and let it out. And next year is really, that's what this healing process is as we start to feel things in our body, and for most of us, discomfort in our body is a sign that something is going on. Sometimes it's, I should not eat macaroni and cheese. Sometimes it's, this person makes me crazy. And then it's not that person, it's about what inside of you resonates with that person that makes you crazy. And when you unplug from it, then you can just look at them and go, wow, I can have compassion for that person because I've been there. That they don't no longer make you crazy. And so that's kind of what 2020 is all about, is taking our power back into ourselves so that we can know our calling, our passion, our next steps. And I believe everybody here on the earth has something important to do. And 2020 is there. Literally, it's 2020 vision. 2020, we're going to move towards that clarity and vision as we let go of things. So the faster we learn to let go of things, the easier it's going to be. And energy medicine is going to help. And we're just going to see that start to explode more and more. And it's going to be paired a lot more with Western medicine, either through Western medicine starting to accept that. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, they do in some places have the tools to help as many people as they want, and their tools aren't going to work for everybody. So it's about us taking back our power and going and looking other ways. And it's also about us working together in community. It's not about, oh wow, I'm feeling depressed today. Well, okay, you feel depressed because something happened. Good. Sit there, rest, take care of yourself, whatever it is that you need, but you don't sit there for 3 weeks. You sit there for a few days and then you reach out to your friends. Or you reach out to a healer to say, I'm feeling off, can you please help me? You're needed out in the world, and it's not time, it's not for us to sit back and stay. Whereas last year it was a lot easier to say, well, I'll Netflix it for a while. I'm pretty sure I'll get happier here in a few minutes. Oh, 2 weeks. Well, now I've found something else to watch. That was restoring our energy. Now it's like, let's get on this and get this moved and transformed. So I think we'll start seeing a lot more people open to energy medicine and being called towards it. So one of the things that it's really time for us to start being kind to our bodies. Our bodies, our minds, and our hearts, they all work together. And for a lot of us, we have a disconnect from one. One can be our mind is a disconnect. So we just do what our mind says, and that leaves out the heart and the body. And for a lot of us, it's our bodies that we've been disconnected from. And now it's time to bring them all into balance so that we can move forward as a complete being. And so that's where the energy works comes in. It'll be yoga. Yoga is super transformative. And this is the year of the metal rat. Where am I at a time? No, you're okay. So this is the year of the metal rat in the Chinese New Year. And rats is the beginning of the Chinese cycle. So it's about new beginnings. And rats are very resourceful. They can figure out anything. They're very smart, they're resourceful, and they're kind of cunning. So we have to kind of be mindful of the rat energy. And more what I'm excited about is it's the metal energy of the rat. Metal rules our lungs in Chinese medicine and our large intestine. Our lungs are our inspiration, and our large intestine is all about letting go, which was exactly what my vision was showing. And I didn't know that it was the metal when I started looking at this. So some of the things about the metal element is it's all about transformation. Metal element in general represents wealth. So as we move through and let go of things that no longer serve us, we're going to find a wealth of health. We're going to find a wealth of money. It could be monetary things. And then the other thing is we're going to find a wealth of joy. The things that really fill us up, because that's the part of the lungs of the inspiration. So next year can be a really fabulous, fun year using all these different tools. The other thing what I was shown is there's going to be 3 weather disasters. 2 of them will completely be weather disasters, and 1 of them will have questionables. And these will be a global event. So holding energy in space for those that will be affected by this. The outside world could get really crazy because this energy, this blue light of peace and truth is coming into the world, and it's also this blue light is being released by our glaciers. Glacier ice is blue, and it doesn't even mix with river water. River's green, glacial's blue, and they don't mix. So that the earth's being shrouded with this blue light, and this blue light is bringing forth truth, peace, and calmness. But anything that doesn't resonate with peace has to be resolved, and that kind of looks like chaos. So it's all about staying within yourself, doing what you need to do and finding your own joy and bliss. And then you'll be able to easily let go of things you don't want and keep moving forward. Thanks, Judy.
All right. You ready? He's chomping at the bit here. He's ready. He is like ready. Wait, let's get this started. Let's start over. Okay, there we go. You rolling, baby. Go,
Okay.
Cody.
So right now there's a lot of Capricorn energy, and that's going to be that way until probably the middle of next year. So what my advice would be with all this Capricorn energy, it's kind of like a stair stepper. You have to start at the bottom and work your way up. Now as you work your way up, there's going to be some destruction that happens. I'm not going to lie to you. I think the markets are going to start dipping down. I think things are going to go pretty crazy for a few months. January 12th is when the Saturn-Pluto conjunction happens. And we also have an eclipse right before that. So sometime during that time frame, even during the end of December, after the solar eclipse happens, the 26th of December, we may see some changes and some shifts that happen. But what that solar eclipse at the end of December is going to give you is a way to look at your goals for the next year that we don't often get. It's going to be a peaceful time. You're going to look and see what happened in the past. You're going to take that and be like, okay, now I have a good vision for the future. Now I can take this and keep moving forward with it. And it's going to take steady progress on your part. Like she said, you can't sit back and watch Netflix for 2 months. You can't procrastinate. You can't, you got to keep working with it, and it's steady energy. And sometimes it'll go slower than you expect, and sometimes it won't work out quite the way you expect it to, and that's okay. Because what happens after this wave of destruction that has to happen before creation happens is a wave of creation. And Jupiter is going to bring that wave of creation. Okay? So the last time we had a Saturn-Pluto conjunction was in November of 1982. We didn't have a good economy then. I don't expect we'll have a good economy coming up. I would make an emergency fund. I would have a go bag ready in case the worst happens, because there's some weather events happening. I see an earthquake out in the Pacific somewhere, maybe in the middle of this year. But all in all, be prepared for the worst, and also just keep in mind, the bad times are only temporary. Okay? Also watch out for very charming people who may be telling you lies. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. We have some alignments out in, like Venus is going to be in Gemini from April all the way into August. It's going to do a retrograde in Gemini. And that's telling me, when I looked at that, that's telling me just watch. It can be some very charming energy, but it can also take you the wrong way. So be very careful about that. Mars is also going into retrograde this year, and it'll go retrograde in Aries. And Aries is, well, Mars rules Aries, so there will be a lot of Mars and Aries energy coming forth towards kind of the end of this year, middle to end of this year, like I think it's around August time frame, September time frame. So just be aware of your anger and what anger does and what destruction does, because it takes 10 seconds just to sit back, take a deep breath, and go, okay, let's continue and let's go about this in the best way. rather than start a bunch of stuff, start a scene or whatever. That's not going to hurt. That's not going to help anybody. This may increase some wars on the planet. People might get very upset. There's going to be definitely some rageaholics out there. Be careful, be mindful, just watch for them. And they may not be people you expect. So that always happens in a Mars retrograde. The people that are the most calmest seem to get the most angriest. I don't know why. But anyway, just be mindful of that. And you've got some great, great stuff coming up. There was a lot of confusion in 2019. There was a lot of people telling you this way, people telling you that way, people misleading you down the wrong road, things like that. In 2020, some of those lies that they told come to light, and then some of those intuitive things that you've been looking for, that you've been trying to understand, they also come to the forefront. So you've got 3 or 4 opportunities for that. You've also got some very creative energy coming up. You've got the Uranus and Taurus, which has been causing some farming issues. Where does our food come from? Earthquakes, things like that. But it also gives you some insights. So there will be people who just awaken, and it may, they may have been trying to awaken for 40 years, but they're awake now, and they're awake in a very stable element. So it's going to bring new life to the planet. I see that happening. How much time do I have left?
You good?
All right. Also, we have several things shifting. So we've had planets sitting out in Capricorn. We've had Saturn and Pluto sitting out in Capricorn for 2.5 years almost. And it's been really, really tough on the Capricorns, the Libras, the Aries, and the Cancers. And tough on some other signs too. You're going to see Saturn finally shift out of Capricorn and go into Aquarius, which will give new insights and give new technologies and new different ways of thinking. You'll see the first part of that happen around May-ish, and then you'll see it go back in July, and then it'll go full forward in December of 2020. There it conjuncts with Jupiter, and a new age will begin. So, let's see. There's politicians on both sides that are lying.
No, shock.
I mean, you don't need me to tell you. But they're lying about more than you think they are. And just watch out for that. They're also engineering some of the stock market things. If you watch very closely, you'll see them engineering it. So be aware of that. Don't believe everything you're told, especially not with Venus and Gemini going back. So anyway, those are my predictions.
I like this. I do too. That was when we were in, it was when we went to Daytona. That was the stands from Daytona, from my eye, the side of my head, and the stands from Daytona, from the pit. We were in the middle of Daytona Speedway. So cool. All right, I don't know if I can do this.
So you're saying that being in the pits is not always bad?
Yeah, exactly.
Checking,
All right.
checking.
Okay.
It depends on what pit.
All right, well, I do not know how to change the screensaver, so we will just have to deal with this thing going off, and I'll just have to keep resetting it. So I think it's okay.
All right, we have time.
I didn't expect it to do that, because, I didn't expect it. All right,
No,
Tish, take it away, Mama.
All right, so first I just want to start out by saying that 2019 was a shit show. Okay, and if it wasn't for you, congratulations, you're one of the 14 people on the planet for whom it was not a shit show. When we started 2019, I said, I don't know if we did it, the predictions or not, but that 2019 was going to be this weird, horrible year of just all kinds of stuff and ultimately transformation. But you know, you have to, all the dead wood has to fall off before you can transform. So, and it would get us ready for 2020. So, 2020 is going to start out crazy, but there's a lot of really good things coming as well. And everything that they both said was stuff that I got. So it's nice that we all we're getting the same information, which is lovely. There's a woman who's going to come to the forefront, and I don't know if she's a politician or what. I couldn't get that, but she's very calming. She's very earth energy. She will calm down. Like, she just makes this calm pool around her, and so I feel like she's going to be beneficial for all of us. And the planet itself is going to calm down. There are places where there are certain activities being outlawed that hurts the earth, and that makes Mother happier. So, yeah, there's still going to be earthquakes, and we're still going to have all that, but maybe not as bad as what we saw in 2019. And we're also, as that which infects the planet, because we're like a virus, we're learning how to repair some of the damage that we have caused. And so, yes, some of it is cyclical for 10,000 years or whatever, but a lot of it is what humans are doing. And we are learning how to fix some of that. And we'll be successful in very many areas, but there's going to be a whole lot of work to do. Don't pat yourself on the back too quickly, because there's a lot more that needs to be done. So we probably will not be putting out, as we get into 2020, as many fires as we have in 2019. It's going to kind of calm down a little bit. I also feel like it will be a year when many of us find our calling and we step into our destiny. It's a big word, okay? And it is everything in control of our lives, which we've been trying to do that for a long time, maybe 40 years, you could be right. And then we're going to help each other. So, and that is the job. When you figure it out and you really connect, then you can reach over and help somebody else up out of that pit. That's what we're supposed to do. You know what they tell you on the airplane? Put your own oxygen mask on first before you can help everybody else? Okay, that's what we're doing. Think of spirit as oxygen. And my grandmother, who was from Brooklyn, used to say, if everybody would just sweep off their own stoop, we'd all have clean stoops and we wouldn't have to worry about each other. So there you go. I also feel like there's going to be more balance because people are craving it. We know we can have it. We believe that we can. We've started to like wake up to that fact. We can have balance. We can be zen. We can take yoga. We can meditate. We can go out and hug trees. Hugging trees is really good, by the way. I recommend it. I also feel there's this flow of spirit that is happening. It's already started. It's been happening for probably 20 years. You know, the whole Age of Aquarius thing, we keep waiting for it. But I feel like it's more and more moving in. I'm seeing more and more people embracing it. So the more we embrace spirit and work with those energies, the better it is for everybody else on the planet. I think there's going to be also more work opportunities, and I'm seeing people starting their own businesses. So despite whatever happens with the economy, and I'm with you, there's bumps coming. Get ready. Put canned goods in your basement. But there are people who are going to start their own business because, as we used to say in the 60s, tired of working for the man. So, well, one of the questions, because I asked people to just tell me, what do y'all want to know? So I got some questions. Someone asked, will humanity ever change? Which I thought was an interesting question. So remember a minute ago when I said that there was spirit moving in to this planet that we inhabit? There is this wave of spirit coming, and people do change as they embrace spirit and realize that we're all one, and that all the petty differences of race, creed, color, national origin, sexual orientation is so petty and doesn't matter, that we all come from the same place and that we all go back to the same place. If we can remember that, then we can get along better with our neighbor. Just don't fight with the guy next door. Just do that. If you just did that, then it makes this change that starts to eddy out. So these changes happen one person at a time. So be the one who starts to flow, please. I got really strongly as I was reading cards that there's going to be this movement that will give the Kurds their own homeland. As if you've been keeping up, you know. They live in this, well, they're kind of scattered, but there's this big portion of Iraq in the north that is largely Kurds, where they actually have people coming in and being tourists, if you can imagine being a tourist in Iraq. They need their own homeland. I feel like it's going to be carved out of that portion of Iraq, and it's not going to happen in 2020, but there's going to be tremendous opposition to this. But this idea is going to grow and it's going to build, and it will happen probably within the next 5 years. So then I laid cards just to kind of get a general to see what we were doing. So stop allowing other people, please, to pull you off track. Like, you get a focus of where you're going and what you're doing, and then people are like, can you do this? Can you give me this? Can you take me here? Can you buy me that? I apologize. And you get pulled off and you're like, what was that doing? So stop allowing it. You don't owe them anything for the most part, unless it's your kids and they need peanut butter sandwiches. So one of the cards I got was the be patient, the temperance card, be patient. And I'm not saying, that does not mean to be a doormat and let people walk all over you. What it does mean is to be thoughtful in your approach and to think before you speak or act. Try not to go off half-cocked, as my granny used to say. It will just make things better in the world. The less nasty energy we put out, the better. The more kind energy we put out, the better. There are a lot of karmic lessons that have been presented and are being presented to all of us. If you learn the lesson, you don't have to repeat it. It's like algebra. If you pass, you don't have to take it again next year. Just saying, that didn't happen for me, but that's for most people. If you can learn the lesson and figure out where it comes from, you can stop doing it. You can stop repeating it. So instead of sitting in a corner and crying, why do these things always happen to me? Find out why, and then you can change it. I see a lot of celebrations, good things happening, parties, events, people being excited and, I don't know, singing on rooftops. So I would like to say, please take joy in the little things, in the sunny days or the birthdays or the holidays. Take joy in the moment in which you are standing. It is incredibly important. So again, more jobs and better money in 2020. I'm seeing people building solid foundations, and I don't know why, but I'm seeing a lot of marriages in 2020, so that kind of came up. Change is coming, so get ready, because it's going to be, a bumpy ride, so fasten your seatbelts. The first several months of 2020 especially. Now, having said that, expect messages from Spirit, which means you have to shut the hell up so you can hear them. Okay. That means meditate. That means go hug a tree. That means turn off the media. It means turn off the television. Turn the radio off in the damn car and just be quiet. Okay? Now, to make no mistake, we live in perilous times. You can walk out of here on any given day and get shot. But we can all make the world a better place just by being kind to each other, to not argue with each other, to try and understand the other guy's point of view, even if it's stupid. So whether it's collecting for kids that need toys and food or whatever, or working for Meals on Wheels once a month, or just waving at your neighbor as you come and go. Those kinds of things make a huge difference on this planet. Be the light.
Be a flippin' good human, right?
That's all.
God, it doesn't take
Oh,
much.
I killed it with 24 seconds to
I
spare.
know. We are smoking today. You guys doing all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I was debating if I want to shift it up. No, I think I do want to save you for last, even though you're the newbie.
No, come on the spot.
Yeah. No.
You're gonna enjoy this.
Take all the time you need.
All right, so, I will, as a matter of fact, it's my show, get out of the way. Okay. So 2020 is gonna be selfish.
Or at least in Susie's
In
world.
my world. Well, because, guess what, I'm a rat. I am, and I am a metal rat, as a matter of fact. So this is my year, so step back. And that's what I started out with. I just touched on a couple of other little pieces, and then I really just did astrology. I just kind of, I kept, sometimes I mix it up with a little channeling, and I did pull one tarot card. But pretty much I stuck to the astrology because that's the news for, as far as I'm concerned, that's the news for the year. So, and yeah, there's a lot in common that's happening on this. Kiki and I are really like, we said that too.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
Yeah, we're trying not to be rude, but we're really excited that we're all thinking the same way. So it's good. We're the bad kids. Okay, so 2020 is the year of the metal rat, and that begins on January 25th. And it's the beginning of a new cycle, as Judy said. And the rat it's the first animal in the Chinese zodiac, that's why. So it's typically a year of prosperity and success, as you were saying, but only if it's well-grounded and well-planned. So this is, again, it's deliberate, focused, deliberate. And then you can have success. So, and since it is metal, and I think you said this, Judy, we'll see, I'm just going to read everything whether you guys said it or not. We will see advances in mechanical things like cars, factories will become more efficient due to technology, and we'll also probably see a lot of advances in tech. And on the IT side of healthcare is what I got. So, Tony's in IT, so I'm going to say that. Feng Shui for financial success, just a little tip. I just found this online. I was like, what can people do to tap into this rat energy and be a little more prosperous this year? And get a metal frog. Literally, you can buy those little metal frogs, and in the stores, little Feng Shui metal frogs. I think Aroma G sells them, and Cosmic Connection sells them. And those, you want to place them in the north side of your office or the place where you do business. And it's said to have a beneficial influence to those who run a business or give you the ability to earn extra income from commissions or bonuses. So get you a metal rat for 2020. I mean, a metal frog, sorry. Yeah, thank you. Metal rat. Or rat, take me home. I don't know. I tried. We'll work for food. Okay, so numerology. I looked at the numerology for this year just a little bit. Again, not a numerology expert, but it's a 4-year, 2 and 2. Now you can also look at it as a master 22-year, but a 4-year, and I kind of broke it down a little bit here. It's about efficiency, practicality. It's about working as part of a team for the greater good. It's conscientious and determined, and it's energy of creation from a place of authenticity and for the highest good. And again, they've all kind of touched on that. Know who you are, you gotta know. It's double pairs, so 2 and 2, so it's groups, it's the energy of groups finding common ground. And 4s to me, like when I see them in the tarot, they always seem to be about one door closing and another opening. So it's kind of like you're moving into this new phase. You can leave the stuff behind. You don't have to keep carrying the baggage. And there's a lot to celebrate, and accomplishments can be rewarded now. So, and they should be celebrated. But it's not time to rest on your laurels. It's still about moving forward, knowing that you've prepared yourself for the time ahead. So it's really a time of there's a lot of, whenever we change decades, whenever we change years, whenever we change, have these major astrological changes, we always want to look back and just kind of note where we've come from and the importance of what we've been through. Because sometimes I know we just want to get through these periods of time or these years and just like be done, just kind of be like, I ain't looking back there, But it's good to look back and just say, wow, what I've come through. Like I survived all this, I did all this, or I accomplished all this, But don't stay there too long, you got to keep moving. So Saturn, Pluto, yeah, that's the big news this year. Every astrologer is just losing their minds over this. January 12th. Now this happens about every 30, 34 years, and the last one I had was 85, so you said it was 92, was it Saturn, Pluto?
Yeah, he said.
82, okay.
Yeah.
But the last time they were, now that was when they were together last, and those, they're the big mamma jammer. Saturn is about, structure, and Pluto is about breaking it all down, and so you can rebuild on firmer foundation, right? And so anything that's on sand, any house that's built on sand is gonna fall, but you can rebuild. So the last time these two were together in Capricorn, though, was actually in the 1500s during the time of the Reformation. So this is a really, really big time for people to be questioning what they're doing and how they're doing it and finding their spiritual source. We're all being called to step into our most authentic selves by this. Pluto breaks down the old and traditional, and we've always done it this way stuff, and Saturn brings a new structure to the new world, to the new order. So for the U.S. just as a whole, we're also still heading for our Pluto return, which is something that there is no country that's seen that yet, actually. No incorporated or whatever official country that's seen that yet. And so historically, it's just been a really long time. No country here that's going to have that. No country currently that's going to have it. Shut up, Suzie. Move to what you said. The last time a country had a Pluto return, that's what I'm trying to say, was the Roman Empire. This was when the fall of the Roman Empire. So think about it, how far do we want to push this envelope? What are we doing? So the return takes place in our country's house of finance. And possessions and things that mean things to us, our values as a country. So we need to get our shit together and figure out what we value the most. What is most important to us as a country. And as individuals, we need to continue to spend our money wisely, invest wisely, balance, and the country needs to balance the budget, to the best of its ability, because what we squander is lost for good. And, with money being power in our world, that's, it's got to shift, right? The Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions in Capricorn, that's, the dates for that are April 4th, June 30th, and November 12th. Those are the exact times. But with most transits that are of this magnitude, they build for a long time. This Saturn-Pluto transit that we was talking about in January, there's no surprises, guys. Back in 2008, something was started, and then in 2016, something came to a head, and now in 2020, all of that is going to come to light. It's going to have to. So if you've been in that job that you've just been putting off making a move from, or in that relationship, or just personal growth, you've been putting off dealing with that sort of thing, this conjunction is going to bring it to a head. You're going to have to deal with it. Planets don't make us do things, but they can certainly make our lives hell if we don't pay attention. And so, the energy is there, and it's building and building and building. And it's like, so none of this is really going to be a surprise, because I'm doing it this way and I'm not doing it any other way. I'm not leaving that bad relationship. I'm not doing this. If you stay too stuck in that, it's just going to get more painful. So it doesn't have to be. But again, it's surprising, but there's no surprise, because it's been building for a long time now. So the Jupiter-Pluto conjunctions, those happen about every 13 years. And what happens with those, this is the April 4th, June 30th, and November 12th. What I wrote about that was just this weird statement I got. The unresolved darkness rules with promises of a utopian ideal. So beware of over-promising and under-delivering in these conditions.
Yeah.
And we will be, and you touched on that, is that there will be tricksters. Sorry, I just stole your word. That was her word. But there will be people that are gonna, more scams, more, better scams, more whatever. So beware, be self-sufficient, I guess, as self-sufficient as self-supporting as you can, like they were saying. I don't know if, maybe we should all stock up on goods, but I don't know. But the idea is don't depend on somebody else or something else to do it for you. So, oh shoot, 6 seconds and I'm not even halfway through. Okay. I am halfway through. So the great Jupiter-Saturn conjunction of December. Oh my God, I'm the only one that hit it. All right, I'm going to use your extra minutes and your extra minutes and your extra minutes.
You can have some of mine too, I'm sure it's sweet.
So the great Jupiter, I really don't have too much time. The great Saturn conjunction of December 21st, 2020 is in Aquarius, the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. This is with a strong square between Mars and Pluto, so we were not likely going to be able to tiptoe gently into like a hippie ideal of peace and love, although it's the age of Aquarius, right? We're going to see some major adjustments at that point in tech and healthcare again. And it's also going to become very clear, Saturn likes clarity, who has this country's best interest at heart during this time. So we may also, at this time, there may be some more saber rattling, with government over tariffs and things. But I feel it's more about here. I do feel this is going to help the economy stay strong through most of the year. And Jung said that the age of Aquarius, he said about the age of Aquarius that it would arrive when enough people had achieved individualization. And individualization is to see each person as one of a kind, that they're intrigued by the unique qualities of each person, that they tend to have a natural ability to discover uniqueness or hidden talents without the need for assessment or other tool, and can act accordingly. So in other words, until we start respecting each other's differences, it's not going to get much better. So the kumbaya won't come. We have to start with that. Venus retrograde, we talked about. I got dates for that. That's May 13th to June 24th, but really June 29th. Venus retrograde, don't get married during Venus retrograde. If anybody's getting married during those dates, see if they can change it. It's just not a good thing to do. It won't, you can survive, but Mars retrograde, we talked about that. And one of the things I wanted to add about during, and that's September 9th through November 15th, but actually really through January 2021. You might get pissed at something that you've already gotten over. Okay, I'm going to skip it, and we've got all the fixes. We'll talk about Nashville's chart. Just a few more things, and then I promise I'll stop. Nashville's chart, we're going to find some really interesting things promised to us. They won't be what we think, so Nashville itself is going to kind of get snowed on something here, I believe. Some shady characters coming forward. This is just for the city of Nashville. Look for an announcement about a huge new business coming here in June, possibly something from overseas. In November, there's going to be another scandal with the leaders, possibly the government and the governor is what it felt like, or the overturning of a local election. So Nashville is having its Saturn return this year, so it's going to be getting down in business and working hard to maintain its status as the it city. And this stuff we'll do at the end. So the last thing, as far as the weather here, I think it's going to be like super unpredictable. I mean, like seriously, like storms out of nowhere, kind of weird. I just felt super windy and wet. And we're also in the final decan. I'll leave with this. We're also in the final decan of Neptune and Pisces. Now each sign has 3 parts to it, 10 degrees each. Each one is ruled by a different planet. This final one this has had to do with these last few years of awakenings that people have been experiencing, and we're in the final one now. So it's kind of interesting to see. It's not that I don't think people are going to continue to wake up. I just think it's not going to be so much on the mass scale that it has been. Because this all started about 2009, 2010, and it was like all these people exploded awake, and then everything calmed down, and then a whole bunch of different people went like out of their minds, and then it was like this third wave, and so that energy is going to shift as Neptune gets ready to move into the next sign. I pulled one tarot card, which is and I got the reverse 4 of Cups, and I don't read reversals, or that. I never read reversals, but I felt like I should read this one, and really what it meant to me was, don't become apathetic, speak up for what you need, and don't let others speak for you, because you're going to get fooled. Know who you are, and don't wait for someone else to do things for you. So, personal responsibility, that's what I was trying to get out earlier. So, all right, I'm done, sorry. Now I feel guilty getting set in the time.
I like the timer, honey.
Well,
It's good for
gosh.
managing. Thank you all. Happy full moon. This is the last full moon of the decade. Rose at 12/12 on 12/12, so pretty monumental. How many people have a good gut feeling about 2020? Awesome, awesome. How many people have kind of a bad feeling? Wow, okay. Great. I'm glad you were all very hopeful. I'm going to share some mixed bag information. So I'm going to be the Debbie Downer, the negative Nelly, and the party pooper. But what I'm going to try and do is sprinkle in some niceties and some happiness and share with you some ideas for giving you a little bit of hope going into 2020. What I work with is tarot, and I just kind of like Suzie and Tish did, I reached out and just asked people, what do you want to know about 2020? And so I got a few different questions and pulled cards for each of them. And so just to start, I'm going to do a couple really easy overall things. I pulled one card for an overall theme for 2020. And does anybody read tarot? Yeah, a few people. Well, I'll tell you what cards I pulled, and if you feel like Googling it later, if not, whatever. The card I pulled was the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups is this very, very interesting card in tarot because it shows this person who's standing in front of all these different options, and all of them are really pretty. I sometimes call it the Ooh Shiny Things card. Traditionally, this card was actually known as the fairy card, as in the person that wrote about this card said that people that received this card could see fairies or interact with fairies. So I'm not saying that 2020 is the year when Tinkerbell is going to come and have tea with us. If she does, wonderful. But I think that this is a nudge towards something that I've been seeing metaphysically, and that is our interactions with what I call the other world. Perhaps it's a dimension that is where the supernatural resides. Perhaps it's something that we could only sense with our third eye or our sixth sense. But I think moving into 2020, our encounters with it are going to be a little bit more peculiar and a little bit more profound. And so what I suggest is moving into 2020, really put your feelers out there and see what are those vivid dreams that you have. What are they telling you? What is that strange animal doing? I mean, hopefully they're not sick, or like let's say like you're having a fox roll up on your front yard and just hang out. What does this mean? What are those strange sounds in the sky? What are the UFOs? Like start thinking about all those different weird, odd, unusual encounters that you're having, and why is it happening now? Another thing to think about with with the Seven of Cups is that it tends to be a distraction card. And so one thing I think is really important, and this is something that I think is oversaid, but the whole idea of what are we distracted by? And a lot of people go to our mobile devices as being the #1 form of distraction, but it seems in 2020, this is something that could be a major detriment to us. And this is something that I definitely need to work on as well. But what is distracting you? So this is something to just think about. What is distracting you? What is distracting you from your life purpose? So we've been talking about kind of like finding our destiny and finding our paths. Moving into 2020, think about what are the things that keep you from following that path. I'm going to tell you that the Seven of Cups can also be a great shift of perspective. We need to see what is the most valuable to us, and I wrote, hint, it's not face tuning. So
What is that?
It's a phone app where you can make your eyes bigger and your lips more plush. And there's little things. Yeah, you take a selfie and I just know it from Reddit. There's this. Anyways, so point being, let's focus on let's find another phone app where it's just called "This is how I really look." Suzie brought this up. Yeah, I know. We're scared everybody. If I put that on my Facebook. So Suzie touched upon it, but I will also touch upon the numerology of the number 4. So, yes, so 4 is not the most chill of the numbers. Like when I think of the number 3, I think of like that mom or like that really cool aunt that comes to dinner and has like pot and like, you know, knows how to do ceramics. Like 3s are really cool. 4s are more like, did my aunt give you pot too?
Yes. You like her so much.
I know. I'm the aunt that 4s are more like the guy that says, "Are you done with school yet? Do you have anything in the stock market?" You know, it's kind of like the hard ass. It's like the parent that just wants to see you do the best you can, but it's really aggravating at the same time. It's like, I really don't need you to tell me what to do all the way. So the 4s, sometimes they talk about restrictions. So next year we need to learn how to respond to restrictions and limitations. I didn't finish a sentence in my notes, but I started with, it needs to be a year where we go lean. Oh, I know what that means, going lean. So we don't need it to be an extravagant year. What does it mean to work in limitations? Cool. I understand my own notes, and now you all do too. Boundaries. Boundaries. 4s are all about boundaries. We need to reevaluate our personal boundaries. We need to contemplate what triggers fear. We need to go back to the 7 of Cups and think, where did that fear start? Is this fear creating illusion? Is it setting me onto a hateful path or an angry path? Something about the 4 year I will say as well, there are 2 words that sound similar but are 2 different things. There is a difference between being assertive and being an asshole. So let's, next year it's all about being assertive and not taking credit. Well, we could be assholes too. Maybe that's something we need to meditate on next year. Is where our, but 4 can also be really wonderful for creating boundaries where we aren't as impacted by people being assholes to us. Or maybe being assertive enough to say, I really don't have time for you. So just some things to think about before. So let's go into a little bit of the questions that I got. Somebody did ask me about the Pluto-Saturn conjunction. I am not an astrologer, so I went, oh wow, neat, and I just pulled a card. I pulled the Magician, which tends to be, as you said, it's a trickster, but it's all about communication. No, it's fine. But it was interesting because the devil flew out of the deck as I pulled the Magician card. So the is because we're really dealing with some narcissistic, delusional trickster energy out there. And I really hope that you are all mindful of the information you take in, especially because we're distracted right now. We have to be careful of trickster energy. You don't need to be paranoid. And this does sound paranoid, but it kind of goes along, Tony, with what you were saying too. I feel like we're in a chess game, and I can't figure out who the pawns are yet. So, just food for thought. Somebody asked me this jolly question: are we experiencing an apocalyptic event? Not much unlike the flood. 5 of Pentacles was the answer. Hey, at least it's not the Tower card, is all I could say. There's always an apocalyptic event going on. It feels like somewhere, at some time, it feels like a devastating end of the world. But I will tell you that the 5 of Pentacles, it's not a unicorn prancing through a field of bounty. It's a picture of 2 people who are in a space of destitution. They're poor and they are looking for help. And when I see this card, I've always called it the prepper card. And so going along with, we're all going to Costco tomorrow, because going along with what everybody has said, I really think this is time to prepare ourselves. What does your homestead feel like? Do you feel that you have enough food to sustain you through a couple weeks? And this is not to say that we're going to not have food cut off, but I also sense that there's going to be some economic, we have to be able to work with what's in our homestead. So please, prepare, clean, and create a homestead where you feel safe, secure, and prepared. Oh my God.
Keep going.
Jeez, I have so much more.
Keep going, keep going.
Do you want me to keep going?
Yes.
I'll tell you. Let's talk about aliens. I know. No. I'm gonna go over all of it,
Go.
and then hey, you know what? This is a good thing.
Do
I
it.
could plug myself to you. You could come to my website, and maybe we could talk.
Keep
about
reading.
this.
Do whatever you want. Take
Let's
your
talk
time.
about
We got
aliens.
time.
So somebody asked me, will disclosure happen? Has anybody ever heard of the idea of disclosure?
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, us getting the news that aliens are here. I got the answer, the Four of Wands. And so my interpretation of that is that even if people are denying it, it's gonna almost be like this authority being like, there's nothing to see here, and there's like a UFO like hovering down and like parking right behind him as he says it. I feel like the signs are going to be there. We're going to see it. So again, I urge you to really keep track of the strange sounds. We have experienced them in Nashville. I don't know where you are in Nashville, but in Inglewood, we have lots of strange rumbles. And I really think that it's time to pay attention to strange sounds, strange things in the sky, and dreams especially. What can we do to help heal the planet? I turned over two very unusual cards. I turned over Temperance and the Devil. These are two extreme opposites. The Temperance card is this super beautiful, mellow, lovely, white-robed angel just hanging out by the water, just doing his or her alchemy. And then the Devil card, which is Baphomet on a throne and two people chained. So, how do you interpret it when you ask to heal the planet and you get those two together? I heard Michelle Obama say, when they go low, we go high. This planet has become a place where I feel we have stewards who want to heal the land. I think of Greta. But then there are those who are poisoners of the land, the kind of people that let the rainforest burn. So moving forward, both with the environment and with your personal time and energy, I want you to ask this question. Does this promote healing or does this promote suffering? Okay. Weather events, I also think that we are going to have some wonkiness. My recommendations are have rain barrels and gardening available at your house. So going back to that part where we're all going to have like bomb shelters by the end of 2020. And guard dogs, we're all going to live in yurts together out in the middle of nowhere. Can't wait. I actually think there's going to be droughts. So I'm kind of curious to see, something is going to be funky with the crops this year.
That's a theme. That actually goes back to, is it the Jupiter Saturn or the Saturn, the Pluto?
Well, we got,
That actually was a thing.
and then we got Mars energy as well.
Mars, yeah. It was in, yeah.
So how many people know how to can? Here we go.
Do the can.
So I'm gonna end on one final thing, because I did share with you that I think it's time that we start really paying attention to our dreams and those visions. And I had a really weird one that I really should have texted you about, because it turned out to be astrological. I had a dream where I heard a voice when I was sleeping say to me, look to the archer in the southern hemisphere, or look to the archer when it's rising from the southern hemisphere. I had no idea what the archer was because I'm not an astrologer. I had to look it up. It's apparently Sagittarius. So I think that there's something going on with the constellation Sagittarius. Apparently this is where the WOW signal from SETI came from. And it's also a point in the center of the galaxy. Galactic center. So I'm very interested to see what's going on with Sagittarius. Or maybe these UFOs are all just going to pop out from there, or some sort of portal where we all go to a happy place where there are no student loans.
Jupiter rules Sag, and we talked a lot about Jupiter. Jupiter's very active this year. Rules Sagittarius. So yeah, I think you're on something. Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah.
A motto for next year that I heard thanks to my boyfriend who has lots of stoic tenets in his life: the obstacle is the way. And the crystal for next year that I think we should all take a look at, it's actually a man-made crystal, but for some reason it feels really good, especially with what Judy was saying about the glaciers. Siberian blue quartz. So, just some stuff. Thank you for letting me go over. Thank you for listening to me.
And last but not least, the fabulous newbie on the panel.
Well, thank you. You guys were amazing. Like, are you guys excited about what you heard?
Yes.
Good, good. All right, well, mine's going to be short and sweet because when you asked me to do this, I'm like, oh, this is going to be an amazing challenge. I do yoga, which is all about being in the present. I don't do predictions. So I was like, okay,
That's all right.
we'll try something new. So what I decided to do was work with each of the clairs, project myself month by month through the year, and see what I came up with. So the feeling I got for January, cold and stagnant. You're going to be working through a lot of resentment, basically. The holidays coming up are going to highlight really unhealthy relationships for most of you. You're going to really see where you stand with other people. And you're going to have to basically come to terms with that. You know, you love this aunt or uncle or whatnot, but you might not be in the same place, and you might have to say, are we moving forward together, or do I need to let you go, let you do your own thing, and step into my power and do what I need to do? So there's going to be a lot of that in January. Let's see. I felt a lot of exhaustion. There's going to be a lot of emotional purging, and that's going to be really prevalent, and I feel that there are going to be a lot of throat issues come up for a lot of people. So just kind of be aware that you're going to be doing a lot of work. What I heard was new year, new me, scrap that idea. Just junk it. Everybody kind of tries to reset themselves. Like, oh, I'm going to be this better person this year. Let that go. Pick one thing that you would like to change in your life and just focus on that. Be loving and attentive to that one thing. Do not try to reinvent yourself because it just sets you up for failure. What else? The visual I got was see potential in new relationships. And I think that's because we see so much in social media, it's really easy to get to the point of, I am so tired of people. People get on my nerves because you can see the negative in people so easily. So for January, flip that around. Try to see the potential and in everyone that you come across. What is the good in them? Instead of getting sidetracked with the negative. And also, let's see, the knowing that I got was make a clear distinction about who you are and where you stand. That is going to be, that's kind of your January capstone. What do you want out of the coming year? You know, what kind of person am I creating? Who am I stepping into? So, yeah, what that one. Okay, so February, what I felt was this was a time for new growth. Nurture those relationships. Now that you're making the effort to see people differently, nurture that in them. If you always look for the best part of the person, give them the opportunity to show that to you, then that's going to really shift and like, what's the word, transmute how you connect with other people, I think. Redefine love for yourself. That one seemed to be really important. Like, we all have an idea of what we think love is and how we should express it and receive it. Kind of let that go. Redefine what that is for you for 2020. Give yourself a new vision. I love the way that you said that because that's kind of what I'm working with. What is your 2020 new vision of love for yourself and how you're going to express it to other people? Severe breaks in important long-term relationships are coming because they are at great odds, I'm trying to read my notes, great odds with what you are about to create in yourself. Okay, so we all have these people that support us, we depend on, but if you're growing in a different direction, if the person you're trying to create doesn't jive with that person who's been there forever, I mean, we've had this amazing relationship, it might be time to look at it honestly and let it go. And it's going to be really hard for basically anybody, but if you want to take those next steps forward, you can't stay in those safe relationships that aren't working for you anymore. So February is going to be a lot about that redefining love, what do I want to be, and just kind of, is this relationship taking me to my next level? All right, what I heard was that for February is faith is the key. You are, oh my goodness, sorry, I'm nervous. You are making the right choices. Have faith that you are making the right choices, because I know this year, especially the last part of this year, was like the choices that I've had to make, I thought were wrong, but they were just the best choices that I could make, and they turned out great. And I think February for you guys is going to be a lot like that. Just trust that you're making the right choices. It may not look it in that moment, but hold on to that faith that you are being led where you're supposed to be. That's going to be really, really powerful for a lot of people in February. February is all about big transformation. That's one of the biggest visuals I got for February was big transformation. The job, the home. I hate to say it, but it's tower time. February is going to be y'all's tower month. Stuff is going to fall apart, and just have faith that, okay, however I need to roll with this, just do it. March, because of all that, everyone's going to feel very raw and very vulnerable. It's not a bad thing. Being kind to yourself and others is key at this moment, because they're all struggling with you. So accept your vulnerability and use that opportunity to connect with people on a deeper level. Resist the urge to pull into your shell and shut others out. Don't do that in March. Because if you let yourself rely on other people, and this kind of goes with but against what you guys were saying, yes, you need to be an individual, but nobody is an island. You have to build community. So use this time to see, okay, this is where I'm hurting, this is where you're hurting, okay, let's support each other in that. Don't separate yourself, don't create walls in this time. Because it was really cool is what I got is, if you're focusing on giving and respecting yourself and giving and expecting love from other people, you're going to be able to connect with your soul family. This is where you're going to, when these people are cracked open and all their defenses are down and they're feeling super vulnerable, that is when you're going to be able to recognize the soul person. It's like, we're supposed to be together. We're supposed to be together. Now that I don't have all my blinders and protectors up, I can actually see you for who you are. So that was really cool. So I know mine's kind of bleak so far, but it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just going to be a strong period of transition in the first part.
Yeah.
Let's see. April, I got an extension of self-growth. Circumstances that began in February take root and take off in April. You'll find your foothold in April. Everything starts to kind of stabilize again. And after the collapse of February, everything will start feeling better. I heard that everyone needs to cultivate a practice of gratitude, because you've had so much crap going on in the first part of the year. Really focusing on that gratitude is going to give you a source of strength. So really focus on that. That's going to be super important. Just focus on how your life is better. Now, don't let the fear of all this change corrupt the work that you've made. So you've had all this stuff fall apart, but you've made all these different connections. It's going to be real easy to be like, well, this has been really uncomfortable. Let me slide back into some old behaviors, into some old patterns. Don't do that. Don't let the fear change your course of direction. Keep forward, keep positive, and just keep looking to how you can better connect with other people and connect deeper within yourself. Let's see. Be outside as much as possible. And I think April is probably going to be cold, but be outside as much as you can. There's a beautiful window of time in April where you will just get it. Like all the struggles that you're going to go through, you'll just get it. It'll just pop. But it'll be something that's reflected in nature. So I don't know how many of you do those nature walks and really commune with nature and meditate, but you'll get it. Like April is that open window of time where it just clicks and makes sense. Let's see. May, the feeling of May is, it's tentative and you feel a little shaky, but you're going to feel good. So really enjoy May. Let yourself be, and I thought this was weird because you kept saying distraction, and that's what I kept getting to. Let yourself be distracted by life and what it feels like to be alive, to enjoy being alive, socializing with other people, surrounding yourself with energizing people, not people who deplete you. And maybe that ties into what you were talking about. Get away from this, get away from these, and connect with people, and let those be your distractions, not social media and crap like that. Let's see, the mantra that I got when I was asking for the visual or the auditory is, say yes to the invitation because you always have the opportunity to leave when you're ready. And I think that's more focused for my empaths and my introverts. Say yes to the invitation. Go for it, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Connect with people. When you feel tired, you can leave. There's nobody saying you can't go. So step into your own power and say, when I'm done, but don't avoid it right off. Don't be like, oh, I don't want to go out. I don't want to be around people. That's not what you need to focus on in 2020. Let's see, June, sorry. Okay, I'll keep it quick. You're going to, what's the best way to say that? You're going to be mourning the memory of the past relationships, like all the people that you saw in January that you needed to move away from. June is going to be kind of when you look back and start mourning those people, mourning those relationships, because they were very important for a period of time, but you just grown past them. So it's okay to mourn them, but don't slide back. Keep looking forward. And for some reason I got tulips. And I think the message there is to deepen your kind of earth connections. If you garden, get out, do your nature walks, do that. But also, I've also always been told that joy guides are usually show up as flowers. So really focus on your joy and maybe bring more flowers into your life. Let that be a physical way that you do that. So the knowing is more in the life that is past, but continue to look forward. So that's June. July, and I'll keep it real short. Cultivate love and your zest for life. Let's see, dig into your heels into your new life. Okay, so this is a big changing point. Be fully present and be childlike, really connect with your inner child, because you've done all this work, now you need a break. So let July be your break, where you're just having fun. Again, let yourself be distracted. I don't know why that word keeps coming up, but it does. By the love of being alive. Get out of your head and do not analyze. That was the biggest energetic push I got from July. Do not analyze. We are always so in our heads about everything. July, don't do it. Just let it be. Just trust that it's going to be fine. Have faith. Just let your inner child take over and just run with that. Do not overanalyze, because I think we're going to be drawn back into that. Basically, August is where you're going to settle in. You need to really focus on grounding in August. Till this point, where you've been just kind of exploring the new person that you're trying to create, the new person that you're stepping into, and how you want to move through the world. Now it's time to ground that in, really root that version of yourself into next year's reality. And that'll happen in August. This is like, okay, I've played with this a little bit. I've done the things that I kind of needed to do, committed to it, and now August is all about, okay, this is who I am from here on out. And basically, when I was asking about the rest of the year, it was just a repeat of those cycles. So I kind of disagree with you. Once you learn the lesson, you do have to repeat it again, because then you have to practice it. And I feel like the end of the year is all about practicing the person that you are becoming. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I was all over the map with this, because I'm like, oh shit, we have 6 eclipses, we have 2 planets retrograde, like, they don't retrograde every year. I was distracted. Distractions. One thing, so we're gonna do some really, really quick, and then we're gonna do like another thing. And then we'll do the Q&A, and we have a giveaway, a little gift bag to give away today. So does anybody, I have one more thing I wanted to add, and as we do this, sometimes you think of like, oh yeah, I wanted to mention this or that. So if any of you have anything to add, the thing I wanted to add was, what triggered me was Kiki. She triggered me with the Siberian blue quartz. I love that, and I went, oh, I wonder what the color of the year is. And so I looked that up, and you would probably know more about the colors, Judy. It's classic blue. Pantone it always selects the color of the year, but it usually goes with the vibration of the year. So yeah, do you know color? Do you work with a lot of colors?
Not a lot, no.
Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to mention that, because to me, blue is about healing. It's healing energy. And so, but I don't know if anybody has anything else to say about it. Anybody last minute thingies you want to add?
Listen to your intuition.
Yeah.
It ties into all this.
What thing you want to add, or the next thing? We do the election.
Well, no, I just want to talk about what I want to do, because this is the end of a decade.
Yeah.
We forget that. Okay, so just remember, this is big stuff.
Yeah, because they all start with 2. Is that it?
Well, no, that we're doing, so we just had this rather amazing full moon, and if anybody did anything, I'm still like a little high from it. And it is a time of letting go. That's the energy about this new moon and moving into a new year, to let go. And so tomorrow night, coincidentally, which there are none, Champagne Shane's going to be at my office, and she's doing a workshop on energy movement and cutting all those old ties. So if you're interested,
Nice.
yeah, call me. It just kind of, I thought about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I should throw that in.
Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna do, like, everybody plug their things coming up in a second. So the last thing, so we saved the best for last. Did anybody have any last thing? Did anybody want to talk about the color or anything? Okay. Was there any last little thing that you wanted to drop in? No? Okay. So I don't know who else did this, but I suggested that we save the big one, because this is also an election year and I didn't want riots. But just everybody make their predictions if they want to, for who they feel, what they feel is going to happen with the election. So did you do one, Judy? You did not, but Tony, did you?
Yeah.
You did, and did you?
Yep.
And you did?
Oh, you better believe it.
Okay, no, Johnny did. He's like, oh my God. And I did. So I thought we would just go ahead and we'll just start with you, and short and sweet, whatever you got to say about it.
Okay. The election, it's going to have it's going to be kind of close. It's also going to have some really strange things about polling machines and things like that, because we'll have Mercury retrograde during the election. And I see a person winning that is a little younger and is either like, I see a feminine energy or a kind of a gender neutral energy. So that's what I saw when I asked. Or that person will be very important in later years. I don't know what that means, but that's kind of what I
Write
saw.
it down. So one of the questions that I was asked when we were doing this is, will Trump be impeached? Well, yes, he is. He's being impeached. The articles of impeachment have been drawn up. They're in the Congress, and they will be voted on probably before Christmas. So formally, yes, that's impeachment. That will be sent to the Senate. He will not be removed from office. So if you were hoping for that, too bad. I'm kind of leaning toward Biden. For right now, I mean, it's changing because it'll change. Everything changes. But if it is Biden, I can live with him. But I feel like a female VP with him. So that's all right. That's all I know. It ain't much, but that's all I know.
Right, so I looked at it, Tony, you just cracked me up, it was almost word for word when I wrote, this is a shit show of an election, and I'll tell you why. Because it is, last time we had an election, I remember being at an astrology convention, and they had all the astrologers on a panel, and everybody talked about their methodology of divining what the election was, who was gonna win the election, but it was the one where they had the hanging chads. And all
Oh
that
Lord,
trouble.
yeah.
So what was happening during that, Mercury was retrograde and it was stationing to go direct, okay? This time, it's gonna be stationing to go retrograde. So it's in Libra. I mean, talk about the unbalanced scales of justice, right? So it was the 2000 election. So so definitely a recount at the very least. Lots of shady shit, computer problems, definitely misinformation out there. There's probably going to be all kinds of interference in this election, illegal, shady stuff. So expect the worst from this one. And I will tell you, I actually looked at the chart for our current president, and I actually believe with the aspects, the way they're set up in his chart, that he is probably going to win. He's got a lot of very fortunate placements in his chart. Now, traditionally, those who have good charts will not win. However, this is an exceptional situation, especially with this conjunction of Saturn and Pluto the way it is, and having to do with leaders, and Jupiter involved, which is the high leader, like it's kings and that sort of thing. So that's the methodology that I use to determine that. So, yeah, I knew he was going to win last time. I was the only astrologer, I think, in the world that predicted it because everybody else was so biased. They didn't want him to win, right? So they all predicted wrong, and I was one of the very few that was actually right because his chart was terribly difficult. And that's how you know who's going to win the election, the person with the most difficult chart. So,
What a surprise, Trump would have a difficult chart.
yeah, well, it was difficult at the time, you know, but, well, it hasn't got much better. But yeah, so that's how I determine that. So, and what'd you get?
Well, I pulled a card, I just said, let's pull a card about Trump, and I could not have gotten a more tarot cardy answer. I got the death card. This does not mean he is going to die, but it does mean that there is some sort of significant change happening for him. And what you were saying about impeachment, yes, impeachment is going to happen, but then I got the Six of Wands. This is something I actually pulled with my friend Michael Herkes, and I just wanted to bring that up because he was there pulling cards with me. And he was like, well, we've got the Six of Wands. And I said, you know, what is that? The whole death on a pale, what is that? Pale horse?
Yeah, death rides a pale horse.
Yeah, so that was my thought on it. But the way I look at it with impeachment, I think that he's going to gloat and brag and be a child having a temper tantrum through the entire procedure, and he's going to get his way. I pulled two cards for the election. I got the Two of Wands and the Hermit. So with the Hermit,
Okay.
Didn't I just say that?
with the Hermit, I thought, well, it's going to be the older generation. And there were three people that I said, well, it's going to be either Trump, Biden, or Bernie. But because of the Two of Wands, I was wondering, is this two terms for Trump? Is this two terms for Trump? Possible, but because he has the death card, I want to say that there's a change, and I'm going to say it's going to be Biden. It's going to be very close. If Trump wins, we're going to go back to those devil trickster moments and say, he cheated. I mean, it's obvious with the other cards that are being pulled. But I think Biden should be the winner. Let's put it that way. I mean, ultimately, in my heart of hearts, I think it should be Bernie and Elizabeth.
That ain't gonna happen.
I mean, well, I'm gonna pull every card until it says it.
Imagine that cartoon I just posted is this tarot reader and their client, and she's leaning over and the tarot reader's going, you know, some of your problems are your own making. And the lady goes, you better shuffle those.
You better shut
All right, well, so that's your answer to that from our esteemed panel here. Please give all these folks a big round of applause. Everybody. Go ahead and anybody got anything to plug? I know you
already
your
plugged.
event. Yep, you plugged.
I'll be on a couple podcasts this month, so you could listen to The Daily Witch. I will be talking more predictions this month, so if you want to repeat, I have a very coachy voice in this interview, so I feel like if you just need somebody to just be like, go get them. I will be on Some Other Sphere podcast talking about high strangeness and sacred sites. I'm doing a lot of traveling right now. Just
High strangeness that goes back to your aunt? No, I'm sorry.
I know. That's good. Yeah, I'm good. We laugh about that after she brings the goods to the house. And so that's where you can find me next, is on some podcasts coming up.
Johnny, what you got? What you up to?
Unless you don't want to do yoga with me in Bowling Green.
There you go.
That sounds like fun.
Take a trip. This man is amazing, and he does stuff at Aroma G's a lot. And when he does, you need to come and get a reading from him. And do you do phone readings as well?
No.
No?
No, I'm a very in-person person.
Okay, so don't do that. But no, he's amazing. I've worked with him several times, like where we've been in like the same room doing readings for people, and he's just such a powerful light. I mean, I just, all these people up here, I wouldn't have invited them if they weren't kick-ass. So I very much respect everybody up here. So got anything going on, Tom?
Look for some new things next year.
He's being
I'm coming
mysterious.
out of my retirement, and I decided to be foreboding about it.
Thank goodness. What you got, sweetheart?
I actually have quite a few things coming up in the next week. I do a lot of gong meditations during the solstice. And so on Friday, I'll be at Unity of Music City. They have their free healing. By
Yes,
donation
tomorrow night,
only,
right?
tomorrow night.
Yeah, go
And
free Reiki.
It's free Reiki,
Free Reiki.
and other types of healing, and I play in the Namaste Cafe while you wait for your sessions. And then I have a talk about finding your passion. I have a free workshop called Where Your Passion is where your profit is, and 3 keys to making a living doing what you love. And that's in Mount Juliet on Wednesday night. And then, on Sunday night, I actually have a laying down gong meditation at the Unity of Music City, open to anybody. Just come. We'll be celebrating the solstice and seeing what energies come in and what energies we're going to be releasing as well. And I will probably bring the Rainbow Spiral Gong, which is a new gong that I got that was made in Italy for me, and it's for the Nashville area, activating our rainbow light bodies. So that's on Sunday night from 4 to 6. So it's early enough that you can get home and get ready for the week. And then in the next Saturday, I'm in Paducah, Kentucky, doing a workshop called Planting Your Seeds for 2020 and a gong meditation that night. So if you know anybody in Paducah, Kentucky. And all of that information is on my handout that's out. And on the front of the handout is my 5 favorite acupressure points. And they're really points that I use them all the time. And that's why I wanted to share them with you, because there's 2 that you can do for an energy flip, like when you get out of bed and you got out of bed on the wrong side and you can't go back to bed and try again. You can push these 2 points and then do an energy flip. There's 2 that you use on your wrist for boundaries, and then a point for grounding. So that's up there on a green flyer. It's for you to take home. On the back side of it is just all the places I'm going to be.
And everybody's materials are out there, who brought them. If they didn't bring them, just, you can talk to them afterwards. So we're going to do a giveaway, and I got everybody's name in a thing back there. While I go get that, if you want to just raise your hand and ask some questions. Who's got questions? Yeah.
Okay, my question is, with all the turbulent and financial and everything issues that are coming up in 2020, if you're currently in a miserable job and you want to get a job or seek new employment, when would be the best time to do that, since 20 is so,
Well, I'm sorry, I was just going to answer that.
No, you go ahead. Anybody ever
Well,
see?
here's what I tell people. Number 1, get your chart done to find out the timing on that, because if you have Jupiter natal or Jupiter transiting through certain areas of your chart, it could be a good time for you to make a move now, but it may not be. So you probably want to look at that. The first part of the year, it's going to be what it's going to be. So make a move, don't make a move. It's going to be. Things are coming to a head. So if you're in a shitty job and you're about to blow your stack because you can't stay there anymore, that's probably going to happen on January 12th. So you can either leave, hurling expletives at your boss, or you can make plans to leave and be deliberate. So that's my 2 cents. But you guys.
No, I agree. Be deliberate. And what's retrograde in December?
Yes, I have to be deliberate. I can't just be like,
No.
Exactly.
I can't do
Never a
that.
good idea. So
So it's kind of a fun thing, is just as you're going out in the world, oh, I like flowers. I'd like to have flowers at my next backdrop. I don't know what that looks like, but that'd be great to have flowers. You know what I mean? And you just start putting it in, and it's really magical when it comes in because there's so many things you forget you put in there, and then they show up.
All right, so does anybody have any other questions? Yeah.
I was curious if you, when you did Trump's chart as to, and said it's difficult, so he's likely to win, did you do charts for any of the other?
I did not, and that was just due to a time
Because
constraint.
it's good, I'm gonna be optimistic that somebody
I
else
just
has
did-
a
I
really
did not.
crappy chart.
His chart is pretty crappy. I mean, overall, it's pretty crappy, but the placement of the 3 major planets that are in play this year happens to be in his house of chance, luck, and self-expression. So, kind of, you know, and everything else, and they're opposing a lot of his squares. I mean, he's got some shit. So it's not a great chart. It's not great. But that was kind of where I went, oh, yeah, I think, he's in.
If there's ever a chart that you want to see people going through, thing after thing after thing, look at Donald Trump's chart. I will say that.
Yeah, there's a lot in it. There's a lot. It's actually pretty fascinating. You know, a lot of, it's funny. There's, I don't do a lot of like celebrity charts and things like that, but there's been a few that have really caught my attention that have a lot of interesting facets to them. But, you know, when you think about it, this is why 6 of the best astrologers on the planet printed in a magazine their predictions for the 2016 election, and every one of them was dead ass wrong because they went in with their bias. You can't read a chart with bias. You can't. And there's too many people out there that have that. I was looking at an article the other day, somebody, you know, writing about the things that are coming up in 2020, and it went down the toilet. I mean, his entire perspective. I had no respect after that. Like I wasn't going to buy into what he had to say because there's a bias, you know. So we have to be careful. That's the disinformation, the trickster, the bullshit, you know. And so we have to look at things very objectively. Nobody was more surprised than me when I first saw his chart in 2015. No, it had to be early 2016, I guess. 2015 or 2016. I threw it up on the board at a class just to see, you know, hey, is this guy gonna win? It was like, he's gonna win. I mean, I was shocked. And then I started really investigating it, and so you can't have that. So you can find 1,000 astrologers that are gonna tell you that he's gonna crash and burn and die, you know? But you have to look at where they're coming from. I have no dog in this fight. No dog in this fight.
I'd love to see all their charts, the ones that are on the front runners, just to see what we're looking at.
Yeah, and
be
I
fun.
apologize, had I had time, I would have done it more, but, you know, I don't know. So, any other questions? Yeah?
I'm always interested in the aliens. So, is there any timeline for when this awakening will happen?
Well, let's look and see.
Disclosure will happen?
So 4 of Wands, I would say that's like warmer weather, but I would say like late spring. We'll have to see what would happen in April or May if we start to see some interesting stuff come out then. But I also think with this reading too, you know, we've had all the information in front of our eyes. I think it's just becoming more and more apparent, and I think that 2020 is an opportunity year for us. If we are so interested in seeking these things out, it will look back at us, for better or for worse.
When you think about the personal transformations that we're going to have this year with this energy, you know, it's like, I mean, think about what that would do to the masses.
Well,
It's like, I mean,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say too, even with the trickster energy, and you get this stuff like, is it good? Is it bad? We have to really be very mindful, and we have to be on our guard. So even those restrictions, you know.
So is it just going to come to the point where it's going to be so obvious to everyone, and they're still saying, they finally have to say, okay, I guess you're right, they really do exist? I mean, we're waiting for what, governmental?
I think that the idea with disclosure is that you have a government actually coming out and saying to the people, yes, we have this. It's very apparent to us, and this is something that is clearly happening. I think that it will just be denied again and again and again, but like I think that it's just going to become so apparent that we can't ignore the information that's there to us, or the actual events or encounters that we're experiencing. Does anybody feel that over the last few years they've had more unusual and strange things happen? I know I have.
Yeah.
So just pay attention to that. I think that no matter what, we're going to have denial in government, but I think that it's going to become more and more clear that something's going on.
You know, if you think, what is the purpose? You know, when events happen in this world, whether it's political or something along these lines, or religious, right? What is the purpose of keeping the information? What is the purpose of being in control of that system, that information, right? It's to control the masses. We're the masses.
Mm-hmm.
It's to control us. You know, all of this division isn't an accident. This is planned.
Mm-hmm.
We're pawns. So the more we buy into it, the more they just sit back and smoke those fat cigars and drink their whiskey and laugh. I just picture these horrific people in like the Illuminati room, you know. I watched Mr. Robot or whatever that show was, and I was like, that's real. But no, seriously, I mean, there's people, you know, there are people that stand a lot to lose by losing their positions of power. And I mean, you know, we could go on and on about this forever, but this is the point where we're seeing who they are.
Yes.
This is the point where it's being unearthed. Pluto is relentless in unearthing the bullshit.
Well, even just think about the whole the Epstein thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of dreary and difficult to. But I
It
mean, that
is
is an exposure of, you know,
Epstein
of these people that are doing these really terrible deeds behind the scene. I really do think
Yeah.
that's true. That speaks to the truth.
It's not paranoid, it's not a conspiracy theory, it's a reality.
real.
And it's been a reality. I mean, you know, one of the most glaring, you know, it is, you know, if you think about religions and controlling the masses and having to, you know, there's a lot you could go into. So this is just another level, and we need to be vigilant about being responsible for ourselves and our own behavior, because, you know, that's why that grounding into who we are is so important. That way you can't be controlled. You know? I don't care who's in office. Nobody can tell me to be an asshole or not be an asshole. It doesn't matter. Whatever I want to do, I'm doing it. You know, I don't care who sits in the White House.
I'm
you
gonna
know?
be an asshole, I think.
There you go.
Okay.
That's your 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
Something. That's my motto.
Yeah. See? And nobody can tell you not
Works for
to.
me.
So, yeah. All right, guys. Anybody, any last questions? Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. I don't have a deep understanding of astrology, but I do feel a harnessing of energy, and I've been trying to keep my ego out of it. So my question is there a time period that is conducive to launching and giving permission for change? And a little bit more of the context is, I feel like I'm preparing for a change. I don't quite know what it is, and I'm okay with not knowing. I'm trying to keep bias and ego out of it. But I'm also like, I don't know, it feels like it's going to happen, and I feel like when? Is there a time period where change seems positive and imminent, where it'd be a good time to invest that energy in change?
You don't feel that one?
Sure.
Like I said, Capricorn's stair-stepper energy. So go towards your passion and take steps every day. And those steps will gain momentum and they'll get bigger, bigger, bigger. And you don't have to exactly know which way you're going to go. You just have to go, okay, what's next? And you'll get there. You'll get where you're trying to go.
Yeah, the energy is always there. It's like, with astrology, I mean, the basic concept is, it's like the moon rules the tides. The tides, they work in concert together. The tides go in, they go out. They go in, they go out. It's the same thing with every planet. It has energy. It goes in, it goes out. It goes in, it goes out, whatever. It's constantly being given to us, but we can choose to do what we want to do with it, And so when you, like you said, when you're working with Capricorn energy, it's about being deliberate. It's about being authentic. It's about being honest. It's about being, methodical. It's methodical. So, but a lot of people have been coming to me lately with I feel like something's going to happen, and and it is. We're coming out of this like, we can't. When I said this to somebody the other day, I said we can't lie to ourselves anymore, guys. We can't get away with it anymore. Like this is the energy of like we can't, because it's going to come out in these funky ways. And so the energy is now, and when it's time when you feel that push to move into something, it's like, you have to just kind of lean into it and see where it goes.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
What last year taught me was that if you give up control over what happens and give up control over the outcome, it'll be much more than you thought it'll be. As long as you're doing your work and you're getting there, and oh my goodness, I want it to be this way and this way and this way and this way. It has to be this way. No, it doesn't. If it isn't the way that's going to work for you, then you'll just make it again until you get what you actually truly want. But I had to let go of that, holding on so hard to that outcome, because I was getting into my own way. That's a good way.
Let it go. Let it go. Come on, everybody. Let it go. All right.
Can I add
let's
one
go
more
ahead.
quick thing to that?
Just one other.
Can I add one more quick thing to that?
Yeah, go ahead, Jenna.
I'm not an astrologer, and what I feel like I need to say to you is be okay with not knowing, because having the expectation that it's going to happen at some point keeps you open. But if they gave you a specific, it's going to happen in January, you would shut down, and you might miss really cool opportunities before January and after January. So just let yourself be okay with not knowing.
Cool.
And I was just gonna kind of piggyback on that. I too have gifts that I'm opening up, and I've noticed and was told too that the more I'm like anticipating, when is that gonna happen, when are they gonna come to fruition, I'm blocking it. And I actually had a voice come to me and tell me, you're blocked, and it's because I was just like, well, when's it gonna happen, when's it gonna open, how do I do this, and the more I did that, the more I'm restricting it, so I've just completely just stopped thinking about it and stopped wishing and hoping, so that it'll just come to me, and I'll stop blocking myself and getting in my own way.
Right.
So maybe
And
that will.
and again, this is the thing. It's like there's no way to control.
Right.
The power is in surrender.
Right. That's what I've
Surrender to
done.
win with everything, everybody, not just you, everybody. Surrender to win. That's what Tony said. Let go.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny, you're the new guy. You pick the name. Just reach in the
It's
bag.
going to
Sorry, it's very
be
unceremonious. We'll see who wins the goodie
This
bag.
person.
Who is that person?
Ashley King.
Ashley King. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope you got a lot out of this, and we'll go into congratulations.
Thank you for coming. This is one of my favorite events.
I love this. Yep, next year, 12/12, we'll be right here. It's gonna be every year on 12/12, whatever day that is.
Did you notice there's 12 people?
Is there 12? We have like 17 that were supposed to come. Where's the rest of them?
No, they didn't show up.
Okay, so anyways, yeah, that's cool, awesome. So thank you. Oh. Thank you guys for doing it. These guys, are amazing. Support them. These are the best in Nashville, guys. I'm telling you. So, thank you. All right, we can come take pictures. Post them, tag us, in Insta do the,
Haggis.
do the thing, you know.
Insta whatever.
Do the, whatever those kids do, you know. Yeah.
Young people are doing.
They should have hashtag. Yes, and we'll see you here next year.